There's more to being a mother than just giving birth to your child. My mom is the birth mom, so to speak. She didn't raise me. I don't know if it was more the drugs than it was the men in her life that were more important for her than for her children. I grew up too fast. I don't have too many memories of actually being a kid. For my 13th birthday, I had my first joint. I didn't stop until I was 31. It wasn't just marijuana. Anything that made me feel good, forget, I did. I ended up living with someone else. The lady I lived with was all drugs. They were drug dealers, and I picked up heroin. I found heroin. And that, for me, was my drug. It was my drug of choice. Joey wasn't a planned pregnancy. I overdosed 5 years ago.
My mom was making me a glass of chocolate milk, and all of a sudden, she fainted. And I didn't know what was going on, so I dialed 911. And I took my brother, and I waited on the steps until they came. They said that they would take her to the hospital and help her, and then they would send me somewhere.
With my biological father, I was beaten before. He used to hit me with a strap. I've been in the hospital twice because of food poisoning from milk, from drinking bad milk. Once my parents were on one side, the cops were on the other side. I was right in the middle. Both of them had guns pointing the opposite directions. That's not exactly the type of place you want to live in.
JAFCO's approach to the care of abused and neglected children is different from other organizations. We approach the care of our children as a parent would approach the care of their own children.
JAFCO has created an awareness to a problem that exists, but it's also created a place to protect those children and to give them a fresh start and to not remove them from their cultural background.
We have to step out of the role of denial and pretending that Jewish people don't have problems to a point where we say that we're human and we do have problems, but we also need to help address those problems.
Before JAFCO started, there really wasn't a program that really focused on looking at the needs of Jewish foster care children. They do a whole continuum of care that really cannot be duplicated in other settings.
That continuum begins with prevention and family preservation. It moves on to foster care and adoption.
I couldn't love myself, so how could I love a child? The best thing I did for him was let go. When I went through detox, from rehab to a halfway house, I knew that when I put my head down to sleep that my kids were safe at JAFCO. I didn't have to worry.
The village really met an unmet need of 3 groups of children. The first were large sibling groups of 3, 4, or 5 children who often came out of one family. The other very serious issue was, in the course of 10 years, we had referrals on 250 children who were over the age of 10 and for whom it was also very, very difficult to find a family.
JAFCO is like having a family that loves and cares for you, having friends and little brothers, sort of, and big brothers.
This is my room at JAFCO. I got my favorite tiger that I like to sleep with. Got my Cubs jacket. I got my bed that looks like a car. It's very comfortable.
The third area that the village was built for were children who needed placement at all hours of the day and night. Child abuse doesn't go away because you're moved outside of your family. The memory and the trauma and the post-traumatic stress continues, sometimes for a lifetime.
JAFCO does a lot. They provide therapy for me and my little brothers.
They've been with us every step of the way. They've been there on the good days and they've been there on the bad days, and we wouldn't have made it without them.
Our independent living program is a program for older teens that are 15, 16, 17 when they first come to us. And that program helps the children learn the skills that they need to live independently. It's not good enough for a child that's abused just to live anywhere in a bad neighborhood or in a rundown house. For an abused child, the standard should be the same as it is for my child or for anyone's child. When a child is abused and removed from their family, within a matter of minutes they lose everything. The only one thing that we can possibly salvage in that child's life at that moment is the piece of their identity that comes from them being Jewish. And that goes a very, very long way in the healing process.
When I went into a Jewish family, celebrated the Jewish holidays, started going to Hebrew school when I was in kindergarten, and I'm still going to Hebrew school now.
We don't discriminate against any child that needs help. It's important for us that we respect the heritage of that child, and we respect the heritage not only of Jewish children, but all children. Our message to these children is even if your parents or your family members cannot care for you, the Jewish community is going to care for you. We're not going to abandon you.
We must now move in a concerted effort to fully implement all of our programs and to fund them operationally.
I don't think there's a better cause. This is an organization that does great work.
We need the funds to continue supporting these children.
You know, the words Tikkun Olam, to repair the world, I think that Jewish people are very much out there repairing the world for all people.
It is not charity. The care of abused and neglected children, our children, is our responsibility. It's not a government responsibility. It is something that they would expect from their parent, and as a community, we act as their extended family.
If there was no JAFCO, I'd probably still be down in the slums of Miami. Probably not in school. Probably maybe in jail, on drugs, in gangs. Wouldn't be a great life at all.
JAFCA's done so much. There isn't enough that I could give back to them that would repay everything. JAFCA's family. For me, they're family.
When one makes a contribution to JAFCO, they're making a contribution not to just an organization. They're making a contribution to saving a child's life.
When you donate money to JAFCO, it helps people like me.
And that's really what life is about, is just the ability to have compassion for those who are suffering. And, you know, a lot of people can ask, you know, why did God make child abuse, or why doesn't He, you know, prevent that from happening? But He can. It's really our job to complete His work here.